So the reason we learn sounds is to ensure that we speak in the right manner and understand each letter with the sound which is under that letter and be able to pronounce it correctly. Now, we already spoke about different languages spoken across the world. But since we talk about English and communication in English, the only language which is spoken all across the world, basis their regional accents, there's a little influence in the way they speak, or we all speak across the world. It is only that when we have to identify the sounds, there is something called as phonetics. Now, what is phonetics? Okay, now different regions across the world had different ways and styles of speaking, and they used to speak the way they wanted. So, what happened with a few scholars across the world, a few learned scholars across the world came together from each country, and then they decided, let's have a common page or a common platform of speaking so that everyone is able to speak in the right manner without wayward manner of speaking. That's when these scholars formed something called as the IPA, the International Phonetic Association. So they formed and then they identified sounds for each letter in the alphabet. Now you might have a question, what is the alphabet? We have all learnt in school alphabets are A to Z, A, B, C, D and then X, Y, Z. But let me tell you, A to Z is the only single alphabet and there are 26 letters of the English alphabet. That means technically A to Z are the letters of the English alphabet and English alphabet is one. I don't mean to correct you, but at some point of time in my life, I was also corrected in the same manner that there is only one alphabet and in that there are 26 letters of the English alphabet. So, when they formed this IPA, the International Phonetic Association, they formed a lot of sounds. They discovered those sounds, they made those sounds as well. Then they tried to understand for each letter what kind of sound should be made. Once the sounds were made, they tried to understand that we can pronounce it in the same manner. And the same thing was passed across the world. All these learned scholars, they went into their own regions across the world and they sent these phonetics and the study of these speech sounds into their own countries, into their own regions, so that people would be able to understand and learn and speak in the right manner with a common goal of ensuring that we do not have wayward manner of speaking, but ensuring that we speak in the right manner, so that we get to understand the different rules and combinations of speaking. Accordingly, we would be able to ensure that we speak, pronounce, and form proper sentences without making any grammatical errors or pronunciation errors for that matter. Now, when we spoke about phonetics, what is it? If you have that question, let me answer that for you. Phonetics is the study of speech sounds. When we talk about this in Hindi or Telugu, any regional or any other language across the world, there are different ways of speech. For example, in Telugu, Naku akala avutundi. Okay, I can also say the same thing when we talk about this in, let's say, the region wise. In Telangana, Naku akala avutundi. But when let's go to Rayalaseema, Naku akala avutundi. If you go to Andhra, the Telugu manner of speaking is very sing-song pattern. Naku akala avutundi. Okay, because there's a rhythm. It's the way the region is and the language changes accordingly. In the same manner, when we talk about Hindi, in Hindi, when we talk about in down south, especially with Hyderabad, there's a lot of local slang that is involved. That is, kaiku, nako, are, ture, are, chare. If you go up north, it's just the opposite. आइए, बैठिए, खाइए, उठिए, जाइए, हमसे मिलिए, बैठ के बात कीजिए. So Hindi also changes there. Now, when we speak about phonetics, there's a lot of stress on the sounds, and because of the slang, the sounds change in the way we speak. So that's about phonetics.